Hi, so I'm Genna Elvin. I'm the co-founder and Chief Tada Officer of Tataweb. We are a coming up 12-year-old company that started in Luxembourg and has grown now to Paris, London, Ottawa, and soon the US. So what we do is we provide, we're in the process of building a technology that can interact and understand internet information like a human would. So a really human focus with the goal of giving people and our customers much better access to information and a much more human way of doing things. As you can probably hear, I'm not from Europe. I'm originally from New Zealand, a little country in the middle of nowhere, but a country that gave me really solid roots and really big wings. So it's a country that gives sort of the younger generation, in particular women, an ambition to really travel abroad and see the world and build things from scratch. So I'm really lucky. I've been living in Europe now for coming up 12, 13 years, so quite a long time. And yeah, I mean, I love building my company, but I love cooking. I'm a mum, and yeah, that's a little bit about me. So it's very, I would say, untraditional for a technology company. My background is actually law and psychology and international relations. And I think what got me into entrepreneurship in the very beginning was co-founding a startup at 18 to bring solar energy to the Marshall Islands, so a small bunch of islands with no electricity. I thought it was more sort of like a law school project, but it really got me introduced into the idea of entrepreneurship and building something, which then led me to go on and start Tada at 22 years old. And it's been a long journey, you know, in the first few years of not having any product market fit, and then sort of finding product market fit, and then growing, and sort of now being coming up to 120 20 people in multiple offices. It's definitely been an interesting journey. So I believe that between myself and my co-founder, I think having that mix between the psychology, between the tech, sort of the humanness meets tech, and that you can see sort of come through our company across multiple different levels. But I think generally when you want to start a company, you have to be passionate and you have to be dedicated, and you have to believe, because it's a tough journey. I'm not going to lie. You know, looks can be deceiving sometimes when it comes to successful startups. But above all, you just have to have a drive that will enable you to push through those hard moments. So in the very beginning, we received angel investment from local Luxembourg angels, but a very small investment to get us for our first year or two. But because we were such a strong technology company, we really focused on building technology rather than necessarily going after customers, which is not something I would necessarily recommend now. And then in sort of late, I think sort of about 5 years ago, we raised a really small Series A. And for the last 5 years, we basically have been cash flow positive. So it means that all of the revenues that we make, we reinvest in growth, and we haven't needed to rely on any external investment. Earlier this year, we sort of saw all the growth opportunities in front of us. We saw the US, we saw just all the amazing things that we could jump on. So it was the first time we decided to seek external capital for a very long time. So I think remaining self-funded and cash flow positive is a really great signal for investors. It also means that you have control of your destiny. So when you completely have control over the decision-making, you know exactly how many people you can hire, you know where you can grow and expand into, you definitely have a lot more control. Now, the reason why it's also good to have investment or external capital come in, be it whatever shape or form it takes, is that it can give you the possibility to jump on growth a little bit faster. So it's a balancing act that you have to sort of really assess, you know, what works the best for your company. But for us, being cash flow positive for such a long time, and still to this day, it's been a really great advantage. So raising capital is, I think, a lot of founders and investors and everyone in the domain can sort of agree is a really tough process. It's stressful, it can take time. So a few pieces of advice that I would definitely give would be that finding the right investor is the most critical thing. So having an investor that aligns with you as a company, that you feel comfortable with, because it's essentially like a marriage, essentially. You know, when you have investors coming on board, they sit at your board. So really having the investor with the right match. And then obviously, you have to be really careful during the whole fundraising process. I mean, right from the very beginning, from the initial term sheet, you have to make sure you have really good lawyers, especially when you're young, you might not understand everything. There's a lot of really great books out there. Venture Deals is an amazing book that really goes through the term sheet and what you have to watch out for. But yeah, just getting really good external advice and help through the process and making sure the investors are a good match for you are really important. That's why it goes down to finding the right match. So for us personally, what our main focus was bringing in a partner. So bringing in a partner that actually understands and can help us grow more. And so sure, you have to evolve and adapt and your mentality has to change. But I think by bringing on board an investor that really understands your market, that understands your company, that knows how to grow and scale, it can be really, really beneficial for companies to have that expertise and that knowledge on their board. I think we were a bit of an exception in the fact that for a lot of companies, when you just go out and do a Series B, for example, round or something like that, there's some really clear indicators that you've reached scale. For us, it was a little bit more opaque because we hadn't raised capital, and so we just kept growing, but it wasn't really clear when you become a scale-up. I think one sort of signal for me that we're actually reaching another phase in our company was when we had a lot of investors reaching out to us. So a lot of really, really big investors saying, can we have a chat? I'm really interested to learn more. And that became, a lot more frequent. And then you sit down and you talk to these investors and you sort of realize that you're no longer in the startup game. You're definitely more of a company that's just ready to scale. And I think that for us was the sort of the main signal that we've reached scale. I think for us, it was definitely more gradual because we had been in that sort of bootstrap mode, and our growth year over year was increasing, of course. It was getting to really nice numbers where it is now. But for us, it was definitely more gradual. It wasn't the sudden moment of, okay, startups are finished, you're a scale up. And I personally believe that there isn't really a time where things can just flick and change, except for maybe the event of a big fundraise. But I think you have to get there step by step. Hard question. I think I always, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar, but the circus act when you're trying to spin the plates in the air and you're trying to sort of keep the plates spinning. I think that's sort of more what running a company is like, just really ensuring that all the different areas continue to spin and function. Our job as founders is to ensure that the team have resources they need to execute on the plans that we have. So as far as moment of focus, obviously ensuring growth, ensuring our customers are happy, ensuring that we're expanding and our yearly sort of year-over-year growth rate is increasing each year. Those are really, really important metrics for us. But as founders, it's just really important not to just focus on one area, just really ensuring that all the different pieces of the puzzle function and is still going well and strong. Sure. So, especially from where I sit, our culture is so important for what Tataweb is. Our culture is really built into the DNA of our company. Right from the very beginning, we went to the Valley. We tried to bring that to Luxembourg, be one of the first companies to really pioneer the Google-ness, if you want, here in Luxembourg. And for us, culture is, sure, it's having fun, but it's also the values. So one way that we've managed to keep our culture, and I'm not saying it's exactly like it was It's not, things change and evolve as more and more people come, as offices pop up in different locations. You can't hold on too tightly to the culture because it has to change. It's natural. But for us, a really important thing was the core values of family first, work hard, play harder, and the hacker mentality. So nothing is impossible. These are 3 core values that we can are entrenched across all the different offices. It's the idea of being happy, having fun together, being there for each other. But yeah, the culture's definitely changed, and we just need to try and have ambassadors that have been there for a long time, really try and remind people of what Tada really is about. So 2 things. So as I said, COVID was really challenging from a cultural point of view, but we still managed to do it. We still had a lot of interaction and connection while we were at home. With regard to onboarding, it was a difficult time for a lot of companies to onboard, especially companies that have a really strong culture. But I think we have at Tada, we have a people team, we have an HR team that really understand and live the values. And so right from the very beginning, they can get a sense for whether or not a particular person is actually going to fit into our company. Fit into the company from a technical point of view, but also from a cultural point of view. So it was really starting from the initial phase as far as understanding, okay, is this person going to be the right fit for Tada, and then going through the process after that. Yeah, I think for us with regard to diversity, obviously it's something that's really important, be it intellectual diversity or cultural diversity or many different types of diversity. But I think the reason really at the base was we want to bring in the best people for the job. And when you have the mentality of trying to find really great talent, we weren't afraid to look globally. And so now we have, I think, 35 different nationalities that we've got working in Tada, all with different points of view, different experience and everything like that. So it's really been a great cultural melting pot to help stop things like groupthink and smallthink. And we've got a great people team. So as I mentioned, our company, everything from the technology that we build right through to the team that we create is really focused on the notion of humanness and being human. And so in order to ensure that people feel like they have everything they need, we do have a great team of people dedicated to just, it could be working on growth or learning and development or onboarding, or just making sure that people and employees that come into Tataweb feel like they understand where their career can go, that they have everything they need, and they don't need to worry. So before COVID, I got asked this question a lot, and I would always say, no, it's not difficult to hire great people into Luxembourg. COVID changed quite a lot. As you know, a lot of companies around the world, there was the big resignation where people suddenly had a lot more time to think about their careers. We lost a few people. A lot of companies around the world lost a few people, and it was a bit of a shock to us because we hadn't lost anyone in so long. And now since COVID, we're definitely seeing that it is hard to find tech talent at a global level. It is definitely harder. It's not impossible. We've still doubled in size, over the last year. So we've still been working really hard. But you do have to work really hard, and we do have to go globally, and we do have to convince people, and we do have to have an amazing office, and we have to help with relocation, and we have to go above and beyond every time to ensure that we can bring in the right people. And it's not easy for companies because they do really have to work hard to bring in talent, which wasn't necessarily the case a few years ago. I really think there's probably too many things that I've just learned so much on this journey. But I think one thing now is, as we're seeing with the markets that are, it's a really tough economic climate right now. And I think looking back, I think our decision to, really monetize early and strategically, get ourselves into a position where we're cash flow positive, where we can really invest in our own growth and really be in charge of our own destinies. I think the current situation is showing that was a really important thing for us to have done. So I'm glad that I learned how to bootstrap, early on.